towers. We've got a well on that property that is big enough to back up any well within the village if our infrastructure has an issue or goes down. And number three, yeah, there's other communities that are interested in renting space from us, which will generate revenue. So by the time that this is all over with, it's actually going to be a revenue maker for us, and we aren't laying out money to other entities to pay for rent to put our public works and people, our equipment into. I think it was a great one. I don't think I was asleep at the switch on this one. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but I don't rubber stamp. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barrett. And Mr. Priest, please.
Well, being a newcomer pretty much, some of the meetings that I went to, I went to some of the finance committee meetings, and if you want to, I did not see any rubber stamping. I saw questions. I saw open ideas being flown back and forth. And so basically, when you're saying rubber stamp, well, the thing is where they have to make their decisions are usually in the executive session. That's where they do most of their arguing back and forth, not out here in the general meeting, in board meetings. So I couldn't see that. But as far as the Boysen building, everything that's been said, okay, is the wells, that's an added feature. The income from the towers, not paying grower, okay, for the renting of facilities. Yes, I think that it was a very good idea. And as far as taking down the hall, I think it wasn't a very attractive building, was it? So, with that, that's it.
Thank you, Walter. Next question, gentlemen. What competitive advantage does Haynesville offer commercial entities over any nearby suburb? Kevin, if you would start, please.
Competitive advantage, well, I think we're located in the heart of Lake County, which gives us a good population demographics to draw from. We're 8 miles from the tollway. We're 5 miles from major north-south roads, i.e. 59 running through the Lake Zurich and the western Lake County, northern Cook County corridor. So I think it makes it attractive just for smaller businesses to be able to feed the larger companies that are in the area, the Baxters, the Abbotts, the Cardinal House of the world. There's a lot of room to bring in smaller cottage industries and the retail that supports it. I think that would be the biggest competitive advantage that we have right now. Although we do have traffic issues with 120, as Lake County decides how they're going to fix some of their traffic flow problems, I do see a little bit of the traffic starting to alleviate. So I think that gives us a leg up. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Mr. Powell, please.
We are strategically placed in an excellent position here in the village of Haynesville, with 120, with 134, with Haynesville Road, and eventually the extension to the south for Haynesville Road is going to come in eventually. But what I think this village should really start to look for is contacting the metro system, because Haynesville should have a metro stop at the village of Haynesville here, where Haynesville Road would be extended past Russo Power Equipment. And ever comes when Lori Epstein decides to start selling some of that property at Epstein Farms, this is what the village should really start looking at, is getting a metro stop here, because that would really make Haynesville a mark on this community. That's what I would look for.
Thank you, Tim. Mr. Priest, please.
I believe the competitive advantage is probably the governing board that we have right now, who are looking into ways to help businesses and to keep businesses coming in here, keeping taxes down, and basically looking for new ways to make sure that we have accessibility to the businesses themselves by extending Haynesville Road. Basically, that's what I was going at, and to make sure that. And as you said, location is what we really have. And with that, that's it.
Thank you, Walter. And Mr. Walkington, please.
I'm not sure we have a major advantage to anybody right now till there's a improvement in traffic flow. Everything basically would have to leave by truck. So we just went through a big study on a bypass for 120 that basically the state told us was no good after I don't know, we spent a lot of time and money on that effort. And as far as Haynesville Road, ever crossing the railroad tracks and going out south of the village, I don't see any major highway work coming to Central Lake County. I just don't see it. And until something, you know, we'd have to find another way to move products. Traffic is the big hold for everyone.
Thank you, Gary. Next question, gentlemen. Fast food restaurants were interested in coming here. I don't know if that's a statement or a question, if it should have an if in front of it, but anyway. If these style restaurants made a firm commitment to set up, would you approve? And Mr. Kreese, please.
Yeah, I would approve it, but as was said before, traffic issues. How are we going to get the flow of traffic to be better to accommodate these fast food restaurants? Basically, if they want to come in here, yes. If you go on the 120, if you go on the 134, the accessibility that you need to have there to make it where a person would want to sit in traffic and basically go through a fast food restaurant, you'd have to improve. And you know, and until that happens, I don't feel that that whether we would be attracted I should say, that the fast food restaurants would be attracted to us.
Thank you, Walter. Mr. Barrett, please.
I wouldn't have an issue with a fast food restaurant. I would prefer maybe something a little bit more sit down, but fast food would be fine. The whole key to the issue is egress on and off of the highways, whether it's 120 or 134. And that bill would have to be decided by who's going to pay for it. I don't think the village should have to fund that. I mean, will we have to partner with them? Yes. Will we have to find funds through Lake County and through state, through IDOT? Yes. But the whole key is going to be egress. How do we get the cars in and out in a safe fashion and not put another drain on resources, i.e. our police department, by handling traffic accidents when people are crashing into each other trying to get in and out.
Thank you, Kevin. Gary, please.
Well, I think, I'm not sure about that. I would seriously have to think about that. I don't see any real advantage to a fast food restaurant that there's too many variables. Like I say, like Kevin says, in and out, where would you put them? I'm sure basically you'd like to put it across from the school, but I don't think that would go over very well either. I would sooner see a restaurant where people could go in and sit down and eat. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Tim, please.
I think we would be thankful if some businesses came to Haynesville, whether that's fast food or any business, because that's sales tax. That's a commercial tax base that we need to run this village. So we would be grateful for a fast food restaurant just to give us the opportunity to facilitate whatever it needs to for the purchase of property or to get them into this village. I know for years Dunkin' Donuts has been talking about coming into the village. McDonald's has been talking about scrutinizing some property to come into this village. So fast food restaurants, bring it on, bring it into us. We would love to have that business. But as far as what Kevin and Gary were talking about, we do need an infrastructure of roads. And as it stands right now, the state of Illinois is broke. There is no federal dollars right now. Whether or not there's any stimulus money out there to try to entice development of roads, we would have to go in conjunction with the developers of the land and the franchise organizations coming in. But if they want to come in, we'll do what we can to facilitate them get here. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Next question, gentlemen. If you lived across the street from another trustee and appeared to be friends, how would you deal with issues where it was obvious that you were on opposite sides of the fence? Well, Gary.
Well, basically, it's hard for me to have neighbors. I don't think I can mean, I'm a pretty easygoing fellow. I've been on the board for quite a while. I've worked with many different residents in the village, and I've tried to get along with everybody. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, and I value mine, and I'm sure they value yours. And I've always been able to sit down and talk with them and work something out. So I wouldn't have any problem living next to another trustee that had a different view.
Okay, thanks, Gary. Walter, please.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem either. Mostly because of the fact that you do have, I mean, that's a part of being a person, being a friend, having a friendship. You don't always agree on everything. But the thing is, you toss ideas across. You throw things at each other. And make sure that when you guys talk it out together, that you come up with a common solution. But there shouldn't be any problems with that, because in fact that's what America is, basically. Having an opinion and being able to express it and then work it out. So.
Thank you, Walter. Tim, please.
There would be no problem with me living next to anyone that has an opposing opinion. I think that's what we do in government. We have a right to air our opinions. We have a right to listen openly to what someone else might bring forward to the table. And many a time, because I've sat on numerous boards and commissions, that I've said, and I said, you know what, they've had a good idea. So I've changed my opinion just by listening to the way that was presented by the opposing party, what their point that they had to get across, what their basis was, what facts they had to present. We digested all this, and you know what? Sometimes we have to give latitude and move and change our positions. But I would have no problems.
Thank you, Tim. And Kevin, please.
If I heard the question correctly, it was if I lived next door to another trustee's.
I'm assuming somebody does, but if you did,
Well,
if it was
I did at one time, and there was a lot of disagreements between myself and the other trustee. It was a different administration, and we always managed to come to common ground, and it worked out for the better for the board and for the village. It's called, I think it's more, you have to listen 150 to 200% more than you speak, and you generally come up with a pretty good consensus. It doesn't matter how much you disagree, you still have to find common ground and move forward for what's good for the village, depending on what your personal feelings are, whether a person's your neighbor or whether it's not. It's what you're doing